Welcome back to the Vertu YouTube channel, and what a day it is. It's Renault Day. Now, Renault have done something pretty miraculous. While car prices apparently are going that way, Renault have done this with the new Captur. They've actually managed to make sure that it's gone down from the outgoing model in certain trims. That's pretty amazing. And what is also pretty amazing is the facelift of this Renault Captur. And that's what we've got, the facelifted version. And I think that's the best facelift that you'll see, well, since the Oscars red carpet of 2025. That works, doesn't it? Anyway, stick with me while we review this SUV. Now, I was a massive fan of the Renault Clio, and the old Captur was a Renault Clio just on stilts, and not very big stilts. Who remembers the advert with Thierry Henry? Va va voom. Well, that is va va voom, I think. That's the last time I mentioned va va voom on this video, I promise. Basically, it's a really nice facelift. They have done a great job, and they made it very, very different. If we have a look at this grille, it looks pretty electric, a little bit like the Hyundai Kona that we did a couple of weeks ago. Now, I really like the lights, the LED lights. It gives a bit of an upgrade there. Obviously, you've got the new Renault badge, and the way this sort of blends in is a very lovely thing. We've got some extra air intake here and here, a little bit of aggression from Renault. We're not going safe anymore. And it's a lot more vertical and straight at the front. No round edges like the Clio or the Captur of yesteryear. And also, in addition to these lovely LEDs, there is some extra lighting down here in that sort of diamond-like shape, a little bit like the badge. It is a very, very nice front end. Let's have a little look what they've done with the back. The back end is a little bit more understated, or they've not done much else with it, but they have got some now transparent clear lights at the back, and that is a standard. Obviously, we've got the rear camera, we've got some sensors there, and the bumper's had a little bit of a revamp as well, and there is no fakery at the back, no fake exhaust to be seen. Okay, I think we can confirm that the Captur looks better than the outgoing model. Before we get inside, and I cannot wait to get inside, let's talk about this trim model. We've got the Esprit Alpine, which is the top of the range. There's a couple other trim models, but the entry level Captur comes with 17-inch alloy wheels, but this one has 19s. And I think they look really nice. Other things about the Alpine, if you were going to go for a different colour, so blue or red or something like that, you will get the two-tone colour combo. So these will be black and the roof will be black. And then obviously on this one, this black model that we've got here, we've got the matte silver roof bars as well. So I think it looks very, very nice indeed. And let's get inside before I soak. Right, here we get. Never am I getting out of this car again today. Right, the Renault Captur on the inside. How does it look? I was a little bit concerned because this is actually a cheaper option than lots of its competitors. The Puma, the T-Cross, the entry level of the Captur is going to be cheaper. So you're always worried, is it going to be a bit cheap and plasticky? So far, so good. Let's do what we always do, squidge test. And it passes. This is the Alpine, you'd expect it to, and it does. And we've got some nice little stitching, nice little material that goes from the seats all the way through to the side there. But there's no hard plastic in sight. It passes the squidge test. Okay, now on this Alpine model, the thing that strikes me the most is my infotainment system. It's really, really good. I've got the digital driver display here, which I can toggle through, and it gives me the option of my maps. It gives me the option, obviously, on the radio. It gives me my bars on there, my speedo, my rev counter. It is really, really HD and nothing rubbish about that. That's really good. But the infotainment system as well. Now, we had a vertical screen the other week, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I really like it. But this one is super responsive on the Captur. Very, very good, very responsive. When I sort of play around with it, It's got my maps on there, and also it is comes with Google Play. So you've got your Google Maps on there as well as your Google Assist and your Google Apps. And worth mentioning, this has got wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay as standard for every model, which we found out in the Hyundai Kona, that was all wired. So massive thumbs up for Renault, we're making it wireless. Another great thing about the inside of this car is that I've got some buttons as well as the very responsive infotainment system. This controls all my climate control. So I am very, very happy with some buttons as well as the very responsive infotainment system. And also I've got some buttons up here that controls my volume as well. So I'm glad I've got buttons as well as the cool system. And on the inside here, it's worth mentioning a few little mod cons that I've got. So I've got heated seats, I've got heated steering wheel as well. I've got electric seats that control my lumbar support and control how far forward I am, how far back I am. So that is really, really good. And let's talk about the seats themselves. This is the Alpine model, the Esprit Alpine. So top of the range, and I've got half leather and then half sort of cloth seats as well with the A in there. Very, very sporty. Other things that say I'm in the Alpine, I've got some blue ambient lighting here. Obviously I can change that on here. And I've got stitching, blue, red and white stitching that suggests I'm in something that's a little bit more special than the entry model. So there we go. I'm pretty happy in this new Renault Captur. In addition, it's the steering wheel. I'm pretty happy with my buttons on here. They're actual buttons as well. I can obviously do my cruise control on here. I can control the volume and flick around with my playlist on here as well. So pretty happy with the steering wheel and obviously with the Alpine stitching on here. I've also got a couple of USB-C points here to get wired up if I need. I've got a 12-volt slot there as well for charging, and I've got lots of storage stuff. I'm going to talk about the storage in a minute. We'll go through that, but yeah, I'm pretty happy on the inside of this Captur, especially the Alpine model. Right, I come on with bottles and it's raining. Let's go through the storage of the Captur. Right, okay, we've got a door bin that fits 2 bottles in. It's plastic, a lot of rattle. I've seen bigger door bins, but it's fine for my bottle. It fits the bottle test. Right, we've got 2 cup holders there. Perfect. A little bit of wiggle for a small bottle. They need a bigger bottle, but it's fine. I've also got a little compartment there, which fits some stuff in. It will fit my mobile phone in, definitely. Fantastic. So there's a lot of storage in here. 26 litres of storage inside the Captur. So we've got some here where you put your phone and with your USB-C ports. We've also got a little compartment under there for a possible wallet or phone. And we've also got this little bit here that is perfect for the key. There we go. We've got a second door bin over there, of course. And then we've got a glove box. Now, I've got a problem with this glove box because it's massive. It goes really far back. Like really far back. You can fit loads in, but the width of it is stopped by the fuse box. It's like they couldn't be bothered to move the fuse box. But anyway, it's huge. You can fit all sorts in that glove box. So there we go. Massive amount of storage in the Captur. And because that door's open, my bottom's getting wet. Right, okay, the back of the Captur. So it's an SUV, so I should have lots of room, and that's my driving position, and I've got loads of room. Very, very spacious. Look at this. Loads of headroom as well. And then the Alpine here doesn't disappoint with the seats. I've still got the half leather, half cloth. And I've got some charging points here, 2 USB-C, I've got another 12 volt, and I've got some fans as well in the back. Storage is good. I've got this little bit of mesh here on the back seats, on the back of the seats, and then we've got a door bin, so I'm good. But there's one thing that's been causing controversy amongst Captur reviewers. These seats, look at this. Now, this is a plus point, definitely. You can move them. They are retractable. You can move them forward to give you more space in the back, move them back to give you more leg room. I've got great room under the seats and everything. Now, the reason it's controversial is because it plays around with the boot space stats. It plays around with them. And I'll explain that in a moment. We'll go through the boot space. Isofix points. Now, you can see they're easily labelled there. They have the zip. Now, the zip is another bone of contention. Lots of people like the zip because it keeps them sort of out of the way. They like look a little bit, I don't know, a little bit cumbersome, I guess, when they're just out in the open. But I would say access is a little bit of a point when a bit annoying with the zips. Personally, I know there's lots of people that prefer the zips. My missus is one of them. But I would say I prefer them without zips. I don't think they're needed. And also one thing, where's my... Hold on. I'm going to pull this out and there's going to be an armrest or cup holder. There's not. There's not. I've tried and I just hit my head. But I tried. There's no cup holders or armrests and I can't get through. There's no through loading. It's SUV, I want cup holders and stuff. But very comfortable in the back. Right, space in the back for the child seat. Lots of space. And the door is opening. I mean, it's not exactly 90 degrees, but it's good enough. And lots of space here, lots of leg room. And remember, you can move the seats backward and forward. I would say, yeah, just the zips. Maybe a little bit of an issue for the Isofix and fitting this, but the child seat has lots of room. The Captur is ticking a lot of boxes. Every good SUV has a great boot. The Renault Captur, no exception. However, I mentioned there was controversy with boot space stats. Still can't say it. Right, it claims that the Renault Captur has a 536 litre boot. I'll repeat it again, you can put a woo in. Now, it's reported that the Renault Captur has a 536 litre boot. Ooh. However, that is only 536 litres once the seats are moved all the way forward, which means you'll get no one in the back that's got legs. So, I would suggest that we go off the other stat at 450 litres-ish, 460 litres. But then, if you've got the hybrid, which this is, you will then lose a bit of boot space under the floor as well due to batteries and whatnot, and it will end up a boot space that's 350 litres. So you can tell the difference between the entry-level model, the 90 brake horsepower petrol manual, to the auto, which is 1.6 litre hybrid, the Esprit Alpine. It's this one. There we go. Glad we cleared that up. But anyway, talking about the boot, it has got a little bit of room under there. And yeah, it's a pretty spacious boot. Not necessarily on this load. You'd probably have to get rid of that floor and load it in afterwards if you're going somewhere on holiday for a couple of weeks or whatever. But there we go, very little load lip there. I love that. I love a flat boot space, but let's give it a test. Let's put some cases in, shall we? Give me the big one. No, don't throw it. Don't throw it. As I step out of shot. Right, okay. Big one in. Give me the little one. Or the medium one, and then that one in. Oh dear, okay. Now give me the little one. This is going to be rammed, isn't it? But it goes in fairly well, I would say. But look, this is what we're saying. It is the crossover, smallish SUV. But I'd say, oh, it fits, but there's not much room else for a lot in there. But before we get to the handling and how it drives, let's talk about the engine options. So this is the 1.6 litre hybrid option that we've got here that puts out around about 145 brake horsepower. There is the entry-level model that has a 90 brake horsepower, 1 litre engine, but that comes in a 6-speed manual. This is the automatic. Now, The reason I would absolutely go for the 1.6 litre hybrid is because not only is it auto, it actually gives you a little bit more power, but it also is better on the economy. It has around about 60 miles per gallon, or the book will say 60 miles per gallon. Whereas the economy that you get from the underpowered engine isn't that great. It's around about 48, which in the real world is going to be sort of low 40s. So definitely this is the option that we've got here in the Esprit Alpine that I'd go for. Now, telling you the setup of how it works. So they've got, this has a 4-speed gearbox attached to the petrol parts of the engine, and then you've got a 2-speed attached to the electric part. A little bit complex there from Renault, but so how does it actually drive? Well, in and around town, it drives really nicely. Very, very comfortable indeed. Now, there are some drive modes on here: Eco, Sport, and Comfort. I'm usually in Comfort. I put it into Sport, and do not expect anything to happen, because it doesn't. The good news is that the hybrid will kick in to get you off the line nice and easier when you're at a roundabout or at a junction. So it gets you off the line nice and easy, and the hybrid system will kick in to help with that. And when it kicks in on motorways as well, it is a very, very comfortable drive. Now, worth mentioning, there's a couple other things that Renault have adjusted to help with your drive and make it a little bit more pleasant. They were dragged over the coals a little while ago around about safety. I think the Renault Zoe did away with airbags and all sorts of stuff like that. Well, there's actually a mode here that I can click on when driving. It's actually sort of my safety score as I drive. I've got a safety score here, and I've got an eco score, just to show how I'm performing on my town drive. I really quite like that from Renault, and they're maybe making a point about their older cars. Now, worth mentioning, this car is not very fast. If you're looking for something with a little bit of punch, you're looking at the Ford Puma, and you're probably looking at the Ford Kuga as well. If you're looking for comfort and seats to hug you nicely, and yeah, to have a very comfortable family drive, this Captur does it better than a lot of other crossovers, and is definitely up there with the T-Crosses of this world. A couple more things that I really like about this car is, obviously there's a lot of beeping that happens with the auto drive system, with lane assist, with my speed limit monitor just letting me know what the speed limit is and make sure I don't go over, my braking, with the car that's close to me in front. All that sort of stuff is obviously on every car nowadays, but turning it off can be a bit of a pain. You have to go through the infotainment system, turn it off individually. They've just got a little button here that actually turns it off, or most of them, turns about 5 of the features off just by the click of a button, and I think that is very, very handy. Obviously it's going to keep the main ones there to help you, but just to stop it beeping at you in and around town is handy little button that saves me a lot of time. One little negative is actually the visibility. Now, I'm not actually talking about the size of the windscreen, all that sort of stuff, because the rear's not too bad. There's another little rear window that helps me when I'm changing lanes on the motorway. It's actually the positioning of the mirror, and yeah, it just, and with the infotainment system, it actually only gives me quite a small window here to look through, so it just impacts the visibility a touch. But I'm being quite pedantic. I am being quite fussy. But that was the only thing I would say. Obviously, we're talking SUV, so we expect maximum visibility compared to hatchbacks. But yeah, I don't know. Okay, slight gripe with Renault. They've given me a reverse camera, which I'm appreciative of. However, when you flip it in, it's not very HD. And now, considering their infotainment system is absolutely lovely, responsive, and very HD, I would suggest that the reverse camera has almost been forgotten about a little bit. I mean, don't get me wrong, it works, and I've just reversed into a space, no problem, and my sensors are beeping away at me, so I've got no problem with my sensors at the front, my sensors at the back, and everything like that. I just want the reverse camera. I think we've been spoiled with reverse cameras that almost like rival your TV at home, but that one, it's a little bit grainy. Okay, other than those little bits of visibility and the reverse camera, etc., I would say if you're looking for comfortable SUVs and value for money, then the Captur could definitely be the car for you. Not only have they improved the design of it, so you actually turn some heads when driving around, because it is a very nice looking car. I definitely think with the comfortable seats, the cockpit's very, very nice, the infotainment system is perfect, and the drive of it in and around town on motorways is going to be lovely with the 1.6 litre engine. And a miles per gallon of 60 is kind of unheard of now in today's market. So, and considering that this is going to be cheaper as an entry-level model than the Ford Pumas of this world, I definitely think the Captur is going to be a very popular choice amongst family car owners. That is it, the Captur has been reviewed. Now, how can we sum this up? I would say comfort and practicality, this has got it in abundance. Also, when it comes to value for money, the entry-level trim is going to be cheaper than its competitors. This is a very capable SUV, and if you're willing to trade with a little bit more money, try the Esprit Alpine, because it is lovely on the inside, as well as a very nice looking thing. So there we go. The Captur is done, but don't take my word for it. Test drive one of these down at Vertu, and then join us for another review soon. Like, subscribe. Fingers crossed for some better weather.